It's lovely to see some fantastic people that we know and we work with, and it's also lovely to see you if you're coming in for the first time. So we've got some of our volunteers here online. We've got Ida, who is our volunteer at the Good Grief Trust and runs our virtual cafe. We have Carol, who is also going to be speaking later, and she runs one of our virtual cafes. We have Jules Lewis and Jackie Brunton, who are our nurse ambassadors, and who will be speaking about how they're going to get involved in National Grief Awareness Week 2023. We have Louisa Nicole. He is coming on board as a Good Grief volunteer, who will be speaking about her experience of sadly losing her husband and how she's going to be hopefully hosting a Better Together cafe, which we'll tell you all about in a moment. And we've also got John Adams, who was past president of the NAFD, and John will be talking about his perspective as a funeral director and how he's going to support the campaign and how he will hopefully encourage other people to get involved in the community as well. So, as I said, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Linda Magistris, and I am Chief Executive and founder of the Good Grief Trust. And the Good Grief Trust was founded because I lost my partner, Graham, back in 2014 and really struggled to find the type of support that I really needed. And my GP, the health professionals who treated Graham, didn't seem to have any wide knowledge about local or national support services really under their remit. They didn't have an online database. Everybody seemed to rely on completely different types of bereavement support information. That could be leaflets, it could be a website, it could be a helpline, but they seemed to, there was a disparity basically across the UK. So we thought we'd bring all those services together. So we now have over 900 charity support services and helplines under the Good Grief Trust. And we signpost to tailor support for anybody who has suffered a bereavement under any circumstance anywhere in the country. And we lead on a number of national initiatives, including this National Grief Awareness Week. So let's crack on with the presentation. So we are very excited, as we are every year, to show you our new posters and the visuals and our whole theme for this year's campaign. We're actually in our 5th year. So this was launched in 2019 in collaboration with our APPG. So the Good Grief Trust is secretariat to the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Bereavement Support, which we co-founded with a Member of Parliament, Carolyn Harris, back in 2017. And the Good Grief Trust created this campaign to try and raise awareness of the impact of grief and loss on a national platform. So without further ado, let me share my screen and I will go through our new campaign for you. So, National Grief Awareness Week 2023, again, it will run between the 2nd and the 8th of December. We decided on this early date in December because we wanted those people who were really going to be struggling over the Christmas period and also into that January and February months, as we know, when grief and bereavement can really hit quite hard. We wanted to give people the toolkit to know that they are supported, those people who are grieving, but also the people who are working with those people who are bereaved, to have the knowledge and the experience and where to signpost for support. So National Grief Awareness Week 2023 is all about connecting with our communities through shared events, because we know that people don't often know what services are out there, and there is still a lack of knowledge, a lack of awareness, and that is for the bereaved as well as the health professionals and the general public. So there are gaps in what providers know about each other's services, and we know that that's incredibly important for the professionals as well as those community services to know who is out there so they can actually tap into those wonderful resources that are often literally in their own neighbourhood, and perhaps they don't even know about it. And we don't feel as though we're really utilising the community grassroots network. So that's literally everybody on the high street, the hairdressers, the garages, the HR departments, the corporates, the businesses, all those wonderful support groups that are out there, just running coffee groups for the community. Let's bring people together and maybe widen that network and not just think about it in terms of bereavement support services. Let's really try and widen that out to the volunteers, to the grassroots organisations, because as we know, grief is everybody's business. So we want to create, host, promote, and work together again this year. It's nothing new, because this is exactly what we want to be able to do through National Grief Awareness Week, is to bring people together. But what is new this year is that we want to focus on a cafe. And we know by bringing people together just for a cup of tea and a piece of cake, and to share that bond if you are bereaved, but also to share the knowledge and the experience of the type of services that you're able to offer the community, is absolutely key. So we will be creating stronger connections in communities. That's really, really important to us this year. We will be hosting local Better Together Cafe events across the UK, inviting support services and the bereaved to join us around the table. We will be promoting National Grief Awareness Week 2023 with events online, across social media, and also face-to-face in person. And we will be working together with local networks and volunteers from the non-health professional community. So our hashtag this year is hashtag Better Together. And that's the absolute key that we would love you to put out onto social and also in your communities. So we want to create Better Together cafe events. It's incredibly simple. We will show you in a moment the assets and the cafe packs that you will be able to order. And it's literally, as this cafe image shows, bringing people together for a cup of tea in your community. If you are a support service, if you are a charity, you will be able to promote your own services to your community and to the wider public as well. And as we show here, we've got the Good Grief Trust logo on our hoodie, but in a moment we'll be able to show you how you can put your logo on the assets, on the posters, on the bunting, and make sure that your service is promoted as widely as we can possibly do it. So we want to connect communities and bereavement services. And we're very excited this year. So the 2nd of December, which is a Saturday, will be our launch event, key ask really for everybody to get involved. And this year our ambassador Dr. Amir Khan will be launching for us up in Bradford. So Dr. Amir Khan, I'm sure many of you know, has a huge reach. He's a GP in Bradford, but he's also a broadcaster for Good Morning Britain, and has many other strings to his bow as well. He's just recently launched a new book actually. So Amir will be hosting our first Better Together Cafe, and that's right in the heart of the UK, in Bradford. And we really hope that, as we have done with previous years, that Good Morning Britain and Lorraine will help us to really promote it on the day, so that we get that national presence, and it will really kickstart the campaign in a really powerful way again this year. And as we know, Amir has a huge social presence, and please do know that I'm sure you all do, that free, very, very simple, but very, very powerful tool that we have, which is social media. Please use it. Tap into everybody that you're working with, share those hashtags, and your promotional events will be able to get out there so much quicker and easier. So we are having Better Together cafes across the UK. So we cannot wait to hear where your cafe will be. We want to cover the 4 nations, as we really want to try every year. But this year in particular, we have some key events planned. As we said, we're launching in Bradford on the 2nd. We're just getting a date for our Welsh event, but we're absolutely excited and thrilled and very proud to be working with To Wish. And To Wish, I'm sure many of you know, is an incredible charity launched by Rhiannon Mannings, who sadly lost her little boy George, and then 5 days later her husband Paul took his own life. But she now runs the most wonderful charity in Wales, and she's now coming into England with that support service. It's for any bereaved parent who up until the age of 25, but it's absolutely hands-on from day one, offering that support. So we're incredibly proud to be working with To Wish this year for a Welsh event. We also have a parliamentary event run with our APPG, and that's running on the Wednesday of the week. And again, very proud to work with our chair, Tobias Ellwood, who is Bournemouth East MP, and is absolutely passionate about everything that we're trying to achieve. So we know that that will be an incredible event, and that will be a Better Together Cafe held at the House of Commons, and we know that it will have a lot of interest. So, Better Together Cafe events, very, very simple. You will just order your pack, and in those packs, you will get posters, which we'll show you in a moment. You'll get your bunting, you'll get social media frames and balloons. And all that then entails is finding a venue, finding a date, sending us all that information that we will then upload to our websites, both the Good Grief Trust and National Grief Awareness Week websites, and we will then promote your event as widely as we possibly can. But as you can see here, we've got bunting that has the National Grief Awareness Week logo on one of its triangles, but the other triangle will be empty. It's where you then can get your stickers. Many of your support services and organisations and charities, I'm sure, already have your branding. You've got stickers that you can then literally put on that bunting. So you're advertising your own support service in your community when you put up this bunting, and obviously advertising the National Grief Awareness Week as a whole. So we hope that will really help to promote and advertise your own charity or support service. We're also very excited to launch some more webinars. Every year we have these online events which are incredibly successful because they're very simple, very easy to join for the public as well as the stakeholders as well. This year we've got 2 planned. Good is Great online events, and Good is Great is a webinar that we launched in conjunction with the NHS initiative, the Academy of Fab Stuff, and it was incredibly successful. We had nurses and clinical leads across the country working in bereavement care coming on and sharing their initiatives. And it was all about pinching with pride, really, because when an initiative has been worked on and resources have been ploughed into that initiative, it's so wonderful just to share then and give other organisations and support services across the country those ideas for themselves to take away. So we hope that we have 2 lovely webinars planned that you will all be able to join. We will obviously share those links. We have a compassionate bereavement support in the workplace webinar, and we also have funerals, improving services for the bereaved. And John Adams is online, and he's going to be talking briefly about his involvement in that, which is absolutely key because people like John and those other organisations who work in the funeral industry and the sector, it's so important to get it right. As we know, we've only got one chance. And the same thing with the compassionate bereavement support in the workplace. We're working with people like Rolls-Royce, with Sweaty Betty, with the Ministry of Justice, huge corporations across the country who are really passionate. CIPD is another one and the Co-op, who have created wonderful bereavement support policies that they want to share and try and engage those employers and employees to know that they are supported and to give them the tools that they need to go forward. So these are our posters. We're incredibly excited this year to be, again, incredibly simple. They follow the lead of our portfolio over the past 5 years, and they're all about coming together. The Good Grief Trust, as you know, is an umbrella charity. We have hundreds of support services. So we want to be able to promote your trust, your support service, your charity under our umbrella. So it's coming together. So we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram formats. They will be digital, online. You can download them and you can print them off and actually put them in GP practices, in hospital waiting rooms. They will be available to order for hard copies as well, which will also be in the pack. There we go. So this is one of our key posters. So as you can see, you literally just slip your logo in. They are editable, so you can put the date and where the actual event is taking place. And the key facilitator, for example, we've got Marie Curie and Samaritans on these T-shirts. These will be changing, actually. These are just preliminary ones. But you can literally just put your logo on that white T-shirt and then put it up on the wall and put it up across social media to show who is facilitating that cafe, which organisation is the lead. And then you can invite everybody in, as we'll show you in a moment. This is one of our key posters that will be going out in large digital format to show that everybody be working together, put the kettle on, bring people together for that event, and it will be incredibly powerful in order to share services, share information, and share those initiatives. And on the final day of the week, we again will be lighting up the country orange. So at 6 p.m. on the 8th of December, please do contact your local landmarks. Jackie Brunton will be talking to us in a moment about Blackpool, and she and her community at the Blackpool Teaching Trust. We are so grateful every year that Blackpool Tower lights up for us in orange. We've had County Hall light up. We've had the National Theatre, Media City, Leeds, Liverpool, landmarks like lighthouses and bridges, not just buildings themselves, light up for us on the final day of the campaign. And we have asked if we can light up the House of Parliament this year. So just keep everything crossed for us that we can do that, because the impact, we know, really is incredibly powerful. And we want to be able to make sure that anyone grieving across the country knows that they are supported. And that they have that awareness at home. Maybe they're feeling isolated and lost, and they need to know that actually people do care, and that they can find that support if they want, locally and nationally. So next steps, order your Better Together cafe packs. They will be ready, and we'll let you know the date. We're just finalising the last orders for that, so we'll be able to let you know exactly when you'll be able to order them. It'll be probably early October, but again, we'll give you the exact cost and the date. Start planning your event from now. I think we've actually got 12 weeks, just about. 11 and a bit weeks. So hopefully that's enough time for you to find a venue, find a date, and then start sending invitations out. Please do send us details as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, we might get inundated at the last minute. We want to be able to get those up onto the website. Please invite your local MP. We have an initiative called Sit With Hope campaign, which we're leading with the APPG. So 650 MPs have been notified about that. So hopefully they'll have it on their radar, and they'll know about National Grief Awareness Week as well. So invite bereavement charities, support services and groups to get involved. And please do contact your local landmarks to light them orange at 6 p.m. It doesn't matter if it's your local library or the local coffee shop, or a huge, amazing building, as I say, like Blackpool Tower. We would love everybody to get involved this year. And please do share those images, go out and capture them on the final day of the campaign and send those images to us, and we'll share them for you. So I hope that that will give you a flavour of National Grief Awareness Week and where we are with the campaign. And we very much look forward to working with you all. So let me just admit a few more people, and then I'm going to introduce my first guest. So Jules Lewis. Jules Lewis is end-of-life facilitator and bereavement lead at the Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust.
Thank you, Linda. Amazing work again this year. So thank you and the team, because it looks fantastic, doesn't it? So thank you, everybody. My name's Jules Lewis. I'm an ambassador for the Good Grief Trust and also the Academy of Fabulous Stuff, and a proud nurse, lead nurse staff for Swan End of Life Care. And sadly, we've had to change our cafe from the week to the week before. So we're going to be the build-up week, if that's okay. And we're going to have our cafe on the 28th, only because I'm helping out with some national stuff. So we've had to just tweak our date. So we'll be doing that on the 28th of November. We have launched our Sit With Hope bench plaques. They are on now 50% of our benches at both sites. And we've communicated that through our comms team, but we will be talking about that during National Grief Awareness Week to encourage other organisations to do the same. They have made a difference already when staff are going outside to have a break and just sit and reflect, and some of our relatives as well taking time out. So that is a brilliant initiative. So I would encourage anybody to get involved with that. I've already asked Telford Library, which is a beautiful building, to light up in orange, and so that will be happening. And then we always light up our statue at the hospital, and we'll have a little think whether or not 7 theatre in Shrewsbury or somewhere else, a lovely building, may help us out. But we'll certainly be lighting up, as we always do, and supporting Linda with some national events as well. I am Welsh and I would love to help out with the Welsh event, but just too busy this year. But I'll be there to help out next year. But I will obviously support it and use the hashtag. And just want to thank To Wish. My cousin recently used them, and I will do all I can to help and support that. So thank you. Is that okay, Linda? Any questions?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jules. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions for Jules while we've got her? Because I know she's got to run off.
Not Kyle.
Oh, you're not. Good. You're good for the moment. Well, please do put some notes in the chat. If you've got any questions for any of our guests, please do put them in the chat. We'll make sure that we reply to those. I'm sure Jules will check those out as well. So if anyone's got any thoughts about maybe joining an event that Jules will be running up there in Shrewsbury and Telford, or about the Welsh event, and I'm not sure whether we've got anybody from To Wish online at the moment, but please just put your notes into the chat and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So let me introduce you now. Thanks so much, Jules. Very exciting. Let me introduce you now to Jackie Brunton. Jackie is also one of our amazing ambassadors at the Good Grief Trust, and Jackie is lead nurse in end of life and bereavement care nurse at Blackpool Teaching Hospital Trust. Jackie, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Linda, and hi everybody. It's lovely to join you all and see so many on the call today. So I'm Jackie. I'm lead nurse here up at Blackpool, as Linda said, but I'm also extremely proud to be an ambassador of the Good Grief Trust and the work that we're all doing and we're all part of here today in making sure that we promote that help and hope is available for everybody. So our Fouled Coast campaign this year, we've already started planning, and yeah, delighted that we were able to say in time for today that we've got that commitment from our iconic Blackpool Tower, and hopefully there's some more exciting news coming soon that I've just not quite been able to help today promote. We also have lots and lots of plans through the week in hosting events. We have a conference that we're hosting during that week, but also we will also be seeking to engage and encourage all of our community groups, partners, as Linda said, businesses and employers to get involved. So that's part of our work and my team's work, and one of our local partners. We work with Trinity Hospice jointly on all of our campaigns, so that will have updates for soon. As part of the week, again as ambassador, the same applies as Jules, here to support with some of the national campaigning, but also just urge anybody who wants to get in contact with myself, especially if you cross the northwest patch and across the north, then happy to help in any way, shape or form if I can, and time permits. We today, I'm very, very excited that today, just before this call, we launched our local Fouled Coast Sit with Hope campaign. So we've got the first, we've had the first of our benches launched today at Blackpool Teaching Hospitals. That today was 20 benches that are committed across our sites. But we also, as a Fouled Coast community, between now and leading up to National Grief Week, we have lots of commitment, and those benches will be popping up around the Fouled Coast. So we're very much using the campaign to connect our community and just keep making sure we raise that important awareness. So that's us up here in the Northwest.
Wow, amazing. Thanks so much, Jackie. And for those of you who don't know, we've just put some information in the chat about our Sit with Hope campaign. So this is something, again, that we're driving through the APPG. It's a Good Grief initiative. And if you'd like to join in, what it is, it's a Sit with Hope bench, basically. So we have a plaque that has a QR code direct to the Good Grief Trust. It says Help and Hope, and hospital trusts are putting these out in their gardens. Hospices are putting them in the gardens on their benches. We've got Liverpool Council who have actually taken 150 plaques to go across the city footprint. We've had MPs, as I said before, pledging to put benches out into their constituency. It's really, really important that we make sure, no matter where people live, and that's from John O'Groats to Land's End, that wherever they happen to be out in the community, that they can find that support and that they know that those services are available to them, and they can feel as though they can be connected with services and help that is right for them. So if anyone would like to order a plaque, please look on the Sit With Hope campaign page on the Good Grief Trust, and you're most welcome. We've had some lovely families who have added Help and Hope plaques to their family benches across the country as well, in memory of somebody who's died, and that's been so poignant and so lovely for us to see. That they want to give back, and anybody who happens to be out walking a dog or sitting with somebody, having a bit of a picnic, maybe on a bench, can automatically find their services that might be right for them locally and nationally. So it's really lovely. Thanks so much, Jackie. Really excited to see all of the news coming up from Blackpool and that area. And obviously we've got Strictly Come Dancing again, so they'll all be around the Blackpool Tower, and one of our lovely ambassadors, Tommy Blaze, is lead singer in that as well. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of traction up in Blackpool, which is really exciting. So let me introduce you next to John Adams. So John is past president of the National Association of Funeral Directors, and he's coming on board to help us try and help improve services in the funeral sector for the bereaved families. John, welcome.
Hello to you all. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Sorry, John, I just had to mute everybody. Can you unmute yourself? Thank you.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so thanks for having me, and just a huge well done for all the work taking place here. Some really positive stuff and things going on. So my name is John Adams. As Linda said, I am the immediate past president of the National Association of Funeral Directors, which oversees over 4,500 funeral homes in the UK. And I'm working, we're doing work with Parliament and a parliamentary petition to add content on death, dying and bereavement into the national curriculum. But this all stems from my belief in how we be proactive and not reactive when it comes to do funerals, and how we give people choice and give families who are suffering a loss control and empowerment. Obviously, some people don't want that, and that's fine. But it's about making them fully aware that they can have as much control as they need to help them move forward in the most positive way. So that sounds great. What does it actually mean? So when arranging a funeral, it's suggesting things and to allow families to have connection points, is what I call them. That can be seeing a loved one in the chapel of rest, which is quite traditional. But it can also be some people who don't want to see their loved ones in the chapel of rest. It could be just coming and having a cup of tea with the coffin closed. So it's creating connection points throughout. It can be on the day of the service itself, being here to secure the coffin. So quite intrusive, and it's things that aren't normal, but actually some people will gain so much reassurance, and it will help them move forward with their grief. Some families I've served will want to come and see the mortuary and the workshop where the loved one's coffins were made. So my view is, if someone wants to get involved in making the coffin, well, why not? It's their loved one. If it helps them with their grief journey, then let's involve in any aspects and every aspect. The options are there for them. And again, seeing the mortuary as well, obviously, traditionally, that's not done. But for some people, that can be really reassuring to see these spaces, because the grey areas, the unknown, is what we find fearful. So I'm really about providing transparency for families, not to force people into these scenarios and situations, but to let them know they have control. It's their loved one, and it remains their loved one, but the funeral director is there to serve them and to give them choices and facilitate anything that they need. So that's what I really believe in, and the impact on that is really powerful, and it's helping people move forward in a really positive way. I'll give you lots of examples, but I don't want to take up too much time today. With that as well, about empowering and information and transparency, we've also launched a podcast called Death, A Changing Industry, which again is receiving lots of positive feedback, because it's showing people other ways to grieve. It's some people, obviously this group, I'm preaching to the converted. You have found this but many people, which you may have all been through, Linda mentioned at the right at the start, it took some time to find the right place for her. It's about creating a platform to help other people. So I'd be delighted to receive any feedback or comments. Are there any questions to me at all, Linda, you'd like me to cover?
Does anybody have any questions for John? It's lovely to see some colleagues and other organisations and funeral directors online. I think we are so passionate that we bring all aspects of bereavement support together, and that we share those initiatives and those thoughts and those ideas, and we try to improve the support and the experience of those bereaved families wherever we can possibly do that. So if anybody has any thoughts for John, or any thoughts for these webinars that we've got coming up, we'd love to hear from you. So please do either get in contact with John, who will be able to sort of collate all those thoughts, or us at the Good Grief Trust. Just email us, hello@thegoodgrieftrust.org, and we will then be able to put those to the panel. Yes, John?
Just to say, regarding the connection points I mentioned, I mentioned a few different examples of that. I can provide a full list of those suggested connection points. Obviously, there might be things that families want to do which is not been done before, but again, it's about exploring that. But I'll be happy to share these with anyone who's interested. Please get in touch with me.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's all about, people have had such wonderful experiences in the community, excellence of care, but also, there are holes, obviously, as we know, and maybe people didn't have quite such a wonderful experience, and there's a negativity around the type of services that they've had, and we want to try and flag those up and try and improve them, and offer the best possible options. And it's all about choice, really, as John said. This isn't for everybody. Not everybody wants to go into a morgue, not everybody wants to go and have a look at a coffin, not everybody wants to decorate their own coffin, but it's absolutely down to that choice. And if we make sure that those bereaved families and bereaved individuals know right from day one what choices are available, hopefully that we can mitigate the sort of guilt and the burden that we're all left with afterwards anyway, because there's always so much guilt anyway with a bereavement. So yes, any thoughts you've got, good, bad or indifferent, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Thank you. Thanks so much, John. Now I'd love to move on to one of our other guests, Louisa Nicol. So Louisa is coming on board as a Good Grief volunteer, and Louisa is a palliative care nurse, and sadly she lost her husband. But she's hoping to be able to bring parts of the community together for a Better Together Cafe during National Grief Awareness Week. So Louisa, welcome.
Hello there. Thank you so much, Linda, for asking me to speak today. And I am talking really from a personal perspective, from the fact that my husband died 3 years ago. I'm currently not actually working within palliative care, but trying very hard using my time and my experience to try and influence care, and particularly around end-of-life care and bereavement, from having both perspectives on this. So I'd worked as a palliative care CNS and a hospital ward manager for most of my nursing career, and I thought I knew how important collaborative working was. But as I said, 3 years ago, my husband died at home, and I experienced it from a different perspective as a wife. Over the course of John's illness, I think he was actually he had osteosarcoma for 4.5 years, and I think you often become quite the link between the healthcare professionals. But I've got a few examples of that. But one example in particular was when a district nurse contacted me that had asked me to see if I could get the clinical nurse specialist in palliative care to change one of John's prescriptions because it was incorrect. And as a wife, I didn't really think that was my place to do that. And actually, I didn't really want to be doing that, as I said, not as a professional. So I suggested that she might want to contact the CNS herself. And I think what surprised me most of all was that the specialist nurse worked out of a hospice locally. The district nurse obviously worked locally, and she didn't know how to contact the clinical nurse specialist, and she didn't know how to contact the hospice. And for me, that was really quite difficult, because this was just 2 days before John died. and he'd actually been under both services for up to about 5 or 6 months prior to that. So I think for me, with the Better Together Cafe concept, I think my feeling is as a relative, but also with a professional hat on, that if the district nurse didn't know about the hospice and the services that it provided, how many people may have missed out on some of those services that might be required. So I think for me, the Better Together Cafes is an opportunity to bring professionals together, and in doing so, enable them to share knowledge, skills, and experience, but ultimately improve the outcomes or the experience for patients and their relatives. As Dame Cicely Saunders said, how people die remain in the memory of those who live on. And I think for me, having been a palliative care nurse for many years, having experienced the actual bereavement myself has given me a very different perspective on it. And I think the Better Together Cafes are a really good way of trying to get professionals and people's personal experience to come together. So I'm hoping to use some of my experience from both perspectives to ultimately sort of help bereaved people in similar situations to what I found myself in.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Louisa. I mean, please do comment in the chat about it. But as Louisa said, it's so key for health professionals, community services. We're working very closely with the school nurses, with the district nurses, with the health visitors, who are often left without that sort of knowledge and information and experience for the bereaved. And they also need those resources, and they need that signposting and connection with other services. So it's absolutely key what you're doing. So thanks so much, Louisa, for everything that you're offering for National Grief Awareness Week. We're really excited to see how that pans out later on in the year. And as I say, if you are organising an event, please do let us know in plenty of time so that we can start promoting it for you and get as many people there as possible, if that's your aim. Carol, I would love to invite Carol now, Carol Wilkinson. So Carol is one of our volunteers at the Good Grief Trust, and she helps to host our Sunday Moving Forward cafes, which are incredibly popular and have been on the go for years now for those people who are a little less raw in their grief and want to meet on a sort of a social level. So Carol's going to hopefully help out for National Grief Awareness Week as well. Welcome, Carol.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's good to see so many people here. As Linda said, I co-host the Sunday Moving Forward Cafe, but I came to the Good Grief Trust during lockdown. I lost my husband in the May before the pandemic hit, and was living alone, have no family, and thought I was going absolutely mad with my grief, and then came across the Good Grief Trust and joined the virtual cafe on a Wednesday, and it became a bit of a lifeline. So it made me realise how important it is that people are not left alone with their grief. So I volunteered with the Good Grief Trust, and 2 years ago, in an order just in between lockdowns, in order to try and get discussions going locally, I did my bit and managed to get, I live in North Norfolk, by the way, Cromer Pier lit up in orange. However, nobody knew about it, and I didn't know how to let people know. And I would say that it took a long time, and eventually I managed to get through. So anyone who's looking to get a building lit up, don't give up at the first, second, third or fourth hurdle. Just try different ways. And I'm determined to do the same again this year. And then last year, I set up just a very small cafe. I approached my local library, and we had a pilot cafe in the library for people to drop into. And we had probably had about 12 people arrived, and they became regulars. It became a monthly event. And some people were very new to their grief, some were some way into it. But what everybody said was how important it was to come together with others, to be able to talk openly and without judgment, and to find ways of working through the grief. So we've had some tears, we've had some fun. And building on from that experience this year, collaborating with a couple of people, including a local poet and playwright, and I'm going to be reaching out to support services within the North Norfolk area to set up a cafe during National Grief Awareness Week. And within that, as well as promoting local services, I'm hoping that we'll be able to talk to people about how you can use nature or creativity. And I noticed some of the chats are on here from people. So for me, walking in nature and photography has become a way of finding some solace in my grief. And also a way of meeting other people. So I'm looking forward to being part of National Grief Awareness Week again this year. So thanks, Linda, and thanks again to the Good Grief Trust for all the support that I've had over the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, well, thank you, Carol, for everything that you do for your bereaved community as well, because as we know, the power from lived experience is so significant to help other people, and we know that the bereaved really feel less alone if we just connect with each other. It's not rocket science, it's just human connection, really, and that's all we want to be able to do, is just help each other really through it in the early stages, in those months and years ahead as well. So thank you so much for everything you're doing, Carol. Again, very excited to see the Norfolk contingency up there and see what happens up there. I can see Emma Kneebone. Did you want to say something about To Wish? So Emma is Deputy Chief Executive of the charity and will be leading with our Better Together Cafe in Wales. So yeah, very excited to see you, Emma. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon all. Apologies, I was a little bit late to the meeting. We're just delighted to be supporting the Good Grief Trust with the first, I believe, the very first Welsh cafe this year. So we are busy finding a venue and getting things sorted behind the scenes, but looking forward to kind of bringing you more information over the next few weeks. But just a huge thank you to you as well, Linda. I know that in terms of the expansion and the kind of us being an all-Wales organisation, but hoping to be delivering our service in what we're calling phase 1 of England, the border county of England and Wales, by the end of this year. You've been a massive help and a huge support as always. So thank you, and we're delighted to be supporting you.
Oh, we can't wait. Thanks so much. So if anybody's online who lives in Wales, or you can get to Wales this year, please do look out for the posts and the information and the details on those events. And if you wanted to, as I say, start your own event, if you happen to be in that beautiful county and beautiful area of the country, please do let us know. And equally up in Scotland, we're waiting to hear whether our ambassador Greg Wise, who's based up in Scotland, will host a cafe for us. And we generally work with the Irish Hospice Foundation out in Ireland. So again, if anybody's online who are either in Scotland or Ireland and you have any ideas or thoughts on cafes or events that you would like to get involved in, please do get in touch with us. The message is literally just hello@thegoodgrieftrust.org, and we will get back to you with all that information. But we've been inundated again this year with people wanting to know about the campaign. As I said, it's in its 5th year now, and we hope it's going to grow every year. And it's going to support those other awareness weeks as well. Again, we're very lucky to be able to work with the Baby Loss Awareness Week, and also with Children's Grief Awareness Week, which happens in obviously October and then November, and then leading up to the Christmas event. But we need to make sure that every day of the year is all about bereavement support and raise an awareness, not just at Christmas, as we know. So if anyone has any other ideas, please do let us know for over the other days and weeks and months of the year, because we do need to keep this in people's minds, really. So please, I open it up to the floor now. Thank you so much to all our speakers. Please do let us know if you've got anything to say, put your hand up or just shout, unmute yourself. We've got our other ambassador, Natasha Bradshaw, online, who is lead at Mortlake Crematorium. And as far as crematoriums and crematoria and funeral directors and cemeteries and things, as I say, they're getting very involved now in our Sit With Hope campaign. And Natasha often organises a park run during National Grief Awareness Week. So if you want to do that, which is what Carol's just sort of alluded to, is the power again and the benefits of getting out into nature is so helpful in any way, shape or form. And that could be just a walk and a talk, or it could be, as I said, a park run, or it could be just literally going out and connecting with dog walkers and, going out with your dog and having a chat. But please do get in touch with us if you know of any of those events. So yes, so who else? Does anybody else would like to make any comments about anything? We've got Claire Della Rust online. I don't know, Claire, whether you wanted to come online. Claire works for CIPD, which is an organisation that has created excellence in their bereavement support policies. So again, please do look for the links for those webinars during National Grief Awareness Week. We're just going to finalise the actual dates. We don't have the dates for those 2 webinars as yet, but very happy to obviously invite anyone and everyone who wants to actually come and speak at those events as well. So yes, we've still got more people coming in. For those people who haven't introduced yourselves, please do in the chat. And then we can obviously get back to you, and we'll make sure that this recording is shared with everybody as well. Let me just check. Does anybody want to raise their hand? Does anybody want to say anything? Very happy to hear your thoughts or your ideas for National Grief Awareness Week. Jane Edmonds from the Good Grief Project is online. Jane, I wonder whether you wanted to say anything about your thoughts and your plans for National Grief Awareness Week this year. Still there? Oh, where's she gone? Oh, I think she might have gone offline. Okay, Ida. Let me just finalise with Ida, who's also one of our volunteers who sadly lost her dad during COVID, but has come on board at the Good Grief Trust, and hopefully will be able to help to host a cafe in her local area as well. Ida, I wonder whether you wanted to just say a couple of words about how you think you might be able to support National Grief Awareness Week.
Yes, Linda, thank you. Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here, and I just can't believe how many people have actually joined. This is incredible. So as Linda said, yeah, I volunteer for the weekly cafes. I found the Good Grief Trust a few years ago after I lost my dad in April 2020, which was a difficult time at the time, being with lockdown. And I do feel like, as many have said, it was a lifeline to just get that support. I'm having lots of ideas coming in my head, what I would like to do. One of the things that I would like to achieve is that to get even if I can get one day during the week of the Grief Awareness Week, where I could try to advertise it and just get the local community to kind of come in, and just like an induction to kind of bring people together and hopefully to share everyone's loss, and make them feel there's a community. And going forward is something that I've spoken to Linda, is I would like to set up a regular face-to-face community to get people together where they can come and again share their losses, and just give them that space to sort of feel less alone, and hopefully, because everyone sort of lives near each other, to hopefully just build maybe new friendships, because I feel like with the grief, as you go on, as the years go on, it's very difficult, very lonely. So fingers crossed I can do that. Thank you very much.
Oh, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you. And we all bring so much. Every bereaved person has a completely unique experience, and it's so important to be able to share that story. And as one of our posters from our past campaign says, sharing your story can become someone's hope. So that's really important. Thank you. So we've got a couple of people. Thanks so much, Ida. We've got a couple of people with their hands up. Christine Jardine, welcome. If you'd like to.
Thank you very much. I've enjoying sounds like a strange word, but I've been thoroughly enjoying this morning. I have a debate on Thursday, which I think might be of interest to some of you. It's about setting up a protocol to ensure that bereaved children get the support they need and help through grief. Because one of the things that a lot of the charities have told me, and I know from personal experience, is that the support is there. The charities and schools can help, but very often children aren't aware, their families are not aware that the support is there, and the charities have no way of knowing where the children are that need their support. So what I'm trying to do is get some protocol established whereby with the, I don't know, the registration of a death perhaps, where we can notify the relevant organisations, or we can ensure families are notified of the support which is available in their area. Because if you've never been in touch with social services, if you've never crossed their radar, there is no way of anybody knowing that you need the support when a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, or even a friend dies. And you might, because of the circumstances, you might move school. So, you know, your school, you may not want people to be aware. There are all sorts of complications, but I feel it's a big problem. It creates problems if grief is not dealt with and bereavement is not approached and the support is not there when you're a child. It can carry on and cause you issues in adulthood. So I wondered actually if any of you would feel able to contact your MPs or any MPs who are on and let them know that this is happening on Thursday afternoon and encourage them to come along. We have had a lot of support. We've got a lot of cross-party support, but I think we really need to. Winston's Wish particularly have been very supportive and have helped. So if you feel like doing that, if you could let them know, thank you.
Absolutely. If you'd like to share those details with us, Christine. So Christine Jardine is MP for Edinburgh West, so and part of our APPG on bereavement support. So yeah, if Christine will share that with us, we can then put that on social, and anybody who wants to support in the way that you need, Christine, I'm sure that would be hopefully helpful. So thank you for sharing that. It's such an important piece of work that you're doing with Winston's Wish and everybody. Thanks, Christine. Keela Shackle-Smith, you've got your hand up. Welcome.
Hello, lovely to meet you. I actually joined your very first launch back in 2019, and you're the reason why I started grief cafes in the civil service. We've now gone to 3,500 people. We host cafes every month. Every other month we do after hours, and we do grief topics on things like delayed grief, anticipatory grief, growing around grief. They've been very popular. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you, because you're the reason we started this to advertise Good Grief Trust. The other thing, I was going to do a bit of a shout out. I'm looking for connections on grief topics such as being young and bereaved, loss of an older child, bereavement by suicide as well. So I would say, again, I'm going to be supporting National Grief Awareness Week in the civil service. I'm going to be promoting Good Grief Trust, and I'll be hosting a cafe. But I just really wanted to say thank you, because honestly, you changed everything back in 2019. So thank you.
Oh, wow, Keely, thank you so much for that amazing words. We just try and bring people together, and we try and raise awareness of these initiatives and then hand them over. And that's the whole point, isn't it, really? So that we can then just share these ideas and thoughts, and that's what we would love to be able to promote during National Grief Awareness Week, is connecting those services that have already worked so hard and spent so much time and resources creating wonderful bereavement care within their own organisation. Let's just share that information and those incredible support services for the good of the bereaved. So yeah, thanks so much. That's really sweet of you and really kind of you to say such lovely things. And thank you for the work that you're doing. That sounds incredible. So yeah, please do share those details. Let us know where your cafes are. So yeah, as a roundup, do we have anyone else who would like to say anything? We've got some lovely comments in the chat here. The Grief Galleries in-person and virtual exhibitions feature the belongings of loved ones lost. I'd love to partner with an organisation for a virtual gathering for National Grief Awareness Week. And that's Charlene. Please do get in touch. That sounds a really interesting event and initiative. And Christine Jardine, as I say, is EMP for Edinburgh West. And really, this piece of work is so important. So please do get in touch with us, or otherwise Christine direct at Parliament via her email. And I'm sure she'd appreciate your support on Thursday. But we can obviously find out a little bit more about that and share that. We've got Bev, who says she already runs a group in the practice where she is a practice manager in the GPs, which is fantastic. We're working with thousands of GPs across the country to try and raise awareness of the signposting available under our umbrella. You know, we have huge access to individual tailored services, and we know that that's absolutely key to those people who are bereaved, to find somebody who's been through a very similar loss, as Carol said, actually can be your lifeline when you're bereaved. So huge thanks to everybody really online for the work that you're doing. It is incredible. Everybody is just so passionate to try and help and raise awareness of the impact of grief and loss. And this week, in conjunction, as we said, with the Baby Loss Awareness Week and also Children's Grief Awareness Week, which is coming up, please do support those two campaigns as well. Even if you haven't had a personal experience, please do support them. There's the Wave of Light, which is Baby Loss Awareness Week, and obviously Children's Grief Awareness Week have their own theme again, so we'll look out for that. And we're working very closely with all the leads for the Awareness Weeks, which is a brilliant, again, a new initiative through Gail Precious, which is the National Bereavement Alliance as well, and Alison Penny. So we're very grateful for all these contacts and working very closely together with our fellow colleagues across the sector. So as a wind-up, oh gosh, we've got some hands up. Sorry, Laura, please do come on, Laura.
Hi, I did just put a quick message in the chat. I'm Laura. I'm currently a cancer care nurse in the GP surgery. I'm leaving this post and heading to be an inpatient nurse at a hospice, a local hospice, but I'm hoping to set up a death cafe, not set on the name, in Colchester on the High Street. We are working towards being a compassionate city, the Compassionate City Charter, and I'm currently working with compassionate communities through the hospice. So yeah, I've put my email in the chat, and I would just love anyone's experience. I have personal lived experience of loss during COVID, but yeah, super excited to be here on this chat, planning for that support group, which could be sort of book led because it's going to be hosted in a bookshop. But yeah, thank you.
Oh wow, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. And we've got Diane and Charlotte. Diane.
Oh, hello. I'm a newly qualified celebrant, and I wanted to approach funeral directors, and I really wanted, I couldn't find John Adams's contact details to get the list he was referring to, so I can signpost bereaved families and just work in an aligned way with funeral directors with similar values.
Yeah, okay, we can definitely share. So if you put your email, Diane, in the chat, we will share John's details. If he's still online, I'm sure he'll contact you now, but that's absolutely important. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We're working very closely with funeral celebrants, actually.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Charlotte, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Actually, I'm exactly the same. I'm a funeral celebrant for 6 months. I lost my husband December 2020. Very suddenly, nowhere to turn to, didn't know about all of this then. One of the reasons I became a funeral celebrant was to support people at this time. I have done many funerals now, and I'm still in touch with a lot of people who don't know where to go. I also want to work in alignment with funeral directors, and I think the Good Grief Trust is going to be very powerful. I want to set up a cafe in our local area just to bring them together to talk to each other. And really it's because I know there's several celebrants on here, we're all messaging each other. What do we do? Where do we go? I mean, I probably got 15 people who would come to a cafe on a regular basis for support. What can we do for the best? You know, we're there at the end of the raw grief like funeral directors are.
Well, I think your role is absolutely pivotal, because obviously you're there right at that funeral event, and to be able to signpost and support those bereaved families that you're working with, and the wider network as well, friends and colleagues, etc., is really, really important. Please do get in touch with us, and we can hopefully support you and work with you going forward, offering the resources that we have, the Good Grief cards, which will immediately signpost to the website, but also to all those other charities and organisations under our umbrella, and we can help support a cafe as well. So if you wanted to launch a Good Grief cafe or your own cafe, then obviously we can help and support. So please do get in touch. That would be great. Thank you for your contribution. Gosh, I can't believe the time. Well, we might have to wind up unless anybody else has got anything to say. But if you would like, obviously, to use the link, please do share it once we send it to you. Please do share with colleagues and friends and family and let everybody know about National Grief Awareness Week. But we can't wait to see your Better Together Cafe events, and they can literally be something in the local coffee shop, they can be something in your support service, in your office, in your hairdressers, in your garage, wherever you happen to be across the country, sit on a bench and have a little picnic if the weather permits. But we would just love to be able to see us all getting together under our umbrella for a Better Together Cafe and bringing services together and bringing the bereaved together. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you for sharing all your notes and your comments, and thank you to all my guests and our volunteers and our ambassadors across the country. And we're all very excited to work together this year between the 2nd and the 8th of December. So start planning, and please do just keep getting in touch with us and tag us on social. It's so important. Please tag the Good Grief Trust, and then we can see what you're doing. Otherwise, we don't know. So just keep tagging us and we'll share, because we have a huge, massive reach. Our Facebook reaches something like 3 million a week. And it's all organic. You know, you don't have to pay for social. It's amazing. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care. And if you are bereaved, please know that you are supported through us and all these charities online. You're not alone. You know, nobody should be grieving alone. So please do get in touch with us. We're here for you. So lots of love, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you very soon. And we'll let you know when our next meetings are. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.